Good afternoon mga katribu and welcome to another episode of Spotlight. I am Matthew Pirante-Pérez. Joining me today is one of the women who spearheaded publications that sought to inform, support, and empower women from the mid-90s up until 2019 and continue to do so in her capacity today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lovely and talented Myrza Sison.
Hi, Matthew.
Hello. How have you been?
Mga katribu.
Thank you so much for coming to our show. It's a
Thank
pleasure
you
to
for
have
having
you. So, I can't believe you're sitting next to me today. I mean, wow. Wow. No, seriously, you've been an inspiration to me for as long as I can remember.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah, in fact, your publication informed and helped, shape my career choices early on pa lang. So, pockets of invaluable wisdom here and there, job interviews, even now when I'm interviewing people, the things that I've read before, they stay. So,
gosh, you
I
made
would
my
say,
day.
I would say na early on pa lang, I already learned a lot. You prepared me for the workplace even when I was still a minor. So yeah, came in handy when I needed it the most.
So glad to hear that.
Thank
At
you.
least one person was affected.
Oh, thank you. So tell me, how have you been?
Good, good. Thanks for picking up. I'm
Okay.
busy with my podcast and my executive coaching and talks.
Hmm.
So,
Podcast. Wow.
Yes.
So you have a podcast. Where can people listen to it?
I do have a podcast called You Can Do This, and people can listen to it on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. This is with Podcast Network Asia.
Okay. So guys, you see what I mean? Empowering women since the mid-90s up until 2019 and still continue to do so now. She has a podcast. You Can Do This.
Yes, you can do this.
You can do this. That is amazing. I mean,
Yes, that's
wow.
always been my mission, to encourage everyone to be the best they can be in every aspect of their lives. And so that's my advocacy, to empower women and men
Yes.
to chase after their dreams, fulfill their biggest dreams, and achieve their biggest goals.
Well, I would say that I am here partly because you also taught me that.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
All right. So before being a magazine editor, you were a supermodel, and I read somewhere that you staged your own discovery.
Yes, I did.
Have you always been like the take charge kind of woman?
Not at all. In fact, I was painfully shy as a child and as an adolescent, but I do need to give my parents credit. I don't give them enough credit for showing us the example of you can be whatever you want to be in your life. They came from the provinces. My dad's from Pangasinan and my mom's from Samar. And they showed us that if you work hard enough and strive to do your best, you can get anywhere. That plus, my dad is the founder of Book Sale. I don't know if you're familiar with Book Sale, but growing up with Book Sale opened my mind to the possibilities of what's out there. Reading about all the different possibilities of how one can live his or her life really showed me that you don't have to be stuck in your own bubble. There are ways of living that other people have achieved, and you don't have to follow what you are given just because it's what you grew up with. And so it encouraged me to dream and to dream big.
And your mom?
And my mom.
Yeah.
Yes, my mom, well, she was the original. I have a motto called Join Lang Nang Join, which is going to be the title of the book that I'm writing, which is a life manual.
Wow.
And Join Lang Nang Join is also the favorite motto of our gay mentors in the modeling industry. They
Join
would
lang
say
nang join.
to everyone, don't overthink it, join lang nang join. But my mother was the original pusher of Join Lang Nang Join. When we were little, okay, every time there's a children's party, drawing contest, join. Writing contest, join. She's like the ultimate enabler for join, because you never know what might happen.
Well, that's true. Now that you mentioned join lang nang join, I'd like to take this second to honor my late agent. He recently passed on, but he was the one who discovered me in the shopping mall, asking me if I wanted to model. And I was
Naks.
15, and I said,
Who was that?
I was very skeptical. And he gave me his business card, took me to an actual modeling agency. You're familiar with this, Monaco modeling
Yes,
agency.
yes.
That's where I started.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yes, with Bernard. With
Okay.
Bernard. Yeah, so yeah, join lang ng join. I kept
Yeah,
saying
right,
no, but it's like,
right,
go,
right,
go,
right.
go.
Every time they'd say there's a requirement for whatever, working woman who can drive. I can't drive. Just try it. Join.
Join. Go. Go.
Yeah,
Go.
go lang ng go, join lang ng join, try lang ng try.
And you mentioned book sale.
Yes.
I avoid that place like the plague. You know,
It's a budol haven.
It's a budol haven. You know, when I was a student, syempre, student, no, hindi pa nag-work, I'm limited to just my allowance.
Yes.
I went to a book sale on a Monday, and let's just say, naubos yung allowance ko for the whole week.
Well, it was worth it. It was feeding your
It
mind.
is worth it.
Yes.
Some of the greatest treasures I have at home, what I would consider my holy grail of books, sa book sale ko nabibili.
Yes.
Like, there's this, you'd be hard-pressed to find this anywhere because she's not exactly known here in the Philippines, but I got the autobiography of Ellen Burstyn
Wow.
in book sale, Makati Cinema Square.
Right.
Cost me a fortune.
Yeah.
25 pesos. There's also My Life So Far by Jane Fonda. Excuse me. The autobiography of Katharine Hepburn. A lot of those I got from book sale. So I do owe your dad a debt of gratitude for
Yes.
bringing these books.
His mission has always been to make reading affordable for everyone. And I think in doing so, he changed, or he improved a lot of generations of people. And that was what I was telling you about books opening up all the possibilities in the world. And, looking up to people who have achieved so much kind of encourages you to dream big because it can be done.
And not to mention the financial aspect of it. The books were cheaper. And also, some of the books that I wanted, that I chanced upon in book sale, they can only be purchased overseas and you need a credit card. I was a student.
Right.
I couldn't buy that. I have to borrow my parents' credit card to buy those, and they won't always say yes to that. So the fact that your dad made it accessible for students and even for adults who may not have access to a credit card, books may not be available in the regular bookstores that we have, and you can find it in book sale.
Yes.
I mean, come on, again, the Ellen Burstyn autobiography, 25 pesos. And it remains one of my most cherished books because it's really hard to find.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's that. Diba? So, when you did modeling, this was in which year?
Nako, mabubuking. This was in the 90s.
In the 90s.
Yes.
So, contemporaries mo sila Tweety De Leon,
Yes,
sila
Tweety
Apple
De Leon
Sabirin.
and Apple Sabirin are my contemporaries and very, very good friends to this day.
You have to admit, both of them, actually, the three of you, you don't look like you've aged at all.
We try very hard.
I mean, I would see Tweety in society events and sometimes fashion shows. I would look at her and I'd be like, I can't believe this is Faye from Okay Cafe Rito. Because I'm beginning to think and I'm beginning to suspect that I now look older than her.
She is beautiful inside out, and so is Apples.
Yes, so
I
is
can believe
Apples.
I'm their friend.
Oh,
Right, because they're so beautiful and smart.
they are very smart. So, what did modeling teach you in all those years?
Modeling taught me confidence and courage. It taught me how to jump out of my comfort zone so that I could try things that were very alien to me. I was a computer programmer, very introverted one at that, with a secret dream of being in the pages of a magazine. And so I took the plunge, join lang ng join. I gave it my all. I quit my job in computers to the chagrin of my parents.
Okay.
And I was really pushed into an entirely different world where you were valued for your looks and skills, physical skills, instead of your intelligence and coding skills. 'Cause
Coding
I was a computer
skills, yeah.
programmer. So it taught me how to go beyond my comfort zone and reach out and try your best to excel in unfamiliar situations, depending on the goal that you want to achieve.
You were very familiar with COBOL before, diba? And Pascal, I think.
Yes, I'm schooled in Fortran, COBOL, Pascal, C++, and what am I missing? Basic, of course.
I am smiling.
Only the nerds, only the older nerds will know what we're talking about.
I am smiling, pretending I understood what she just said. I mean, I know
Yes.
COBOL is like a computer program, but
Yes.
other than that, I don't know what it is. So, Now that, knowing what you know now,
Right.
would you have done things differently? Or what would you have done differently?
So I regret nothing because I wouldn't have become who I am if not for everything I did. However, if I were to reverse engineer my life for optimal results, I would have defied my parents as early as age 13, which was when we were choosing a college course.
Okay.
So I entered college at 14, and 13 is when you choose. Well, third year high school is when you choose the course.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a writer, but my dad said no. It was the Marcos regime, and my dad said all the journalists will be jailed. So he said, no way are you going to be a journalist. You will be a computer programmer. So I wished I defied him then and took up journalism and creative writing because that was deep inside what I wanted to do ever since childhood. And maybe practical doses of accounting and business.
And yet, the woman owns a Palanca Award.
Oh my gosh. Okay, revealing another deep dark secret.
I do my research. What can I say? She is a Palanca winner. She won in 2006. And
Very
she,
good.
and she
Fact-checking.
didn't know.
No, I didn't
until
know.
the day before the
Yeah,
awards.
very,
night.
very good, Matthew. Yes. So I joined for the heck of it because people said that's what you do. You join. And a classmate of mine in the creative writing program of UP said, don't be sad if you don't win on first try. I have tried 10 years and I have never won. So don't be sad. The day before the Palancas, I get a call from Jessica Zafra who says, did you win the Palanca Awards? I said, I don't think so. I didn't get any notice. And then she said, there's a rumor here that you won. Why don't you check? Check where? Call them. Call them and say, hello, did I win? They're like, why not? Mark Bailey did it. And so I sheepishly emailed the Palanca Awards.com or something. Hi, stupid question, but did I win? And they're like, didn't you receive the letter that we sent to
Because
your
they send
house?
letters.
Because they sent letters, but they didn't text me or email me. And so I go home and ask the guard at the lobby, meron ba akong letter dyan? Ay, oo, ma'am, dito sa drawer. 1 week na po nandito. I'm like, oh my God, it was the day before. And had I not dared ask,
You
and
wouldn't
had Jessica
have
not
known.
called me, I would have not been there to receive my award. Because I had no idea I would ever win.
So
To this day, I have imposter syndrome, and I think they just raffled off the award that year, and I was lucky to win.
But still, shout out to Jessica Zafra for
Hi,
being such a good
Jessica.
friend.
Thank you. She's always pushing me to write, pushing me to go for my dreams, pushing me to believe in myself.
I love her. I mean, I've read Twisted 1 to 6 in 2 weeks when I was a teenager. What appealed to me with her, what appealed to me when it came to Twisted was she spoke of a time, or at least it was during the time, at the time it was published. She spoke of a time that was that I was very fond of, which is Makati during the mid-90s.
Oh yeah.
She spoke so much of Greenbelt and Makati in general.
Yes.
And when I was reading it in 2004, I was taken back in time,
Right.
like a decade before. And I remember, because honestly, I mean, I'm in my mid-30s now, but I can emphatically say that my favorite time of my life was the mid-90s when I was a kid. You can ask me anything about Makati from the mid-90s, I'll be able to answer you.
Okay.
But
Let's do that.
I was gonna say earlier, before revealing too soon that she won the Palanca Award, your dad, I was about to say, quite an odd statement from your dad who owns book sale, didn't want you to be a writer, but I get it. I get it.
Yes.
I get it now.
You know, they only did what they thought was best for me. He said,
As most parents do.
had I followed his advice, maybe I would have founded Facebook, but no.
Yeah, when you think about it, you could have. You could have.
No,
you
no,
could
no,
have.
no.
Because it's really just that one stroke of genius. Sometimes it's just that. In your case, I can't say it's just one because when you orchestrated your own discovery to be a model, I would say that's a stroke of genius.
I think it's a stroke of blind faith and ignorance. Who was it who said, the ignorant are very confident or something like that? Like when you are ignorant, you can be very confident.
I just know that ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
I just know ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
But You know, when you think about it, yeah, you can be very confident when you don't.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
there is
true.
a book called Why Incompetent Men Become Leaders. And this is part of the talks that I give, showing people the difference between competence and confidence. And we must know the difference. You can be confident without being competent, and you can be competent
Without being confident.
without being confident, and nobody will ever know that you became confident, which is why I'm always advocating for the importance of confidence in your own skin, confidence in your physical presence, because sometimes we may be the most talented people, but if we are not confident enough to show the world to tell the world about our talents, people will never know.
You know, mga katribu, minsan talaga, no matter how good you are, you have to shine your own light. Because not
Yes.
everybody will get the chance to see it.
Right.
And if you're gonna wait for the sun to shine, or the light to be, to be shining towards you,
Yes.
what if you don't get the
This
chance?
is what I teach in my confidence talks and courses and coaching, that you may be the most talented person, but talent, for your talent to be seen, this requires you being seen. And
Yes.
if you are not seen, you may
Then,
die without ever sharing your talent with the world. So that's another thing that modeling taught me, the importance of developing presence, the importance of being confident in your physical appearance, because it is a way, physical appearance and speaking skills. I'm not saying that it's a beauty contest. I'm saying it's being at ease in your own skin, because that's the only way for you to get your message across.
that's true. That's true. I remember in Cosmo, do not mumble, do not, don't be a, don't be too full of yourself, but don't be a shrinking violet either.
Right.
These little things that I learned, when I was reading it.
Or act as if you already are confident, and you will be. You
And
can you can trick your brain into thinking that you are.
I think that's how I did things before.
Yeah, that's how we all do things.
All right. So, as the editor in chief of one of the biggest female centric magazines in the country during its heyday, what did you learn about Filipinas?
Right. So we launched Cosmopolitan in 1997,
Yes.
and throughout the 25 years that I was with Summit, I learned so much about the Filipinas' fears and hopes and dreams and aspirations across three generations. That's Gen X, Millennials, and Gen Z.
Okay.
So although I think if we compare the Filipina today and then, although today the Filipina she's very woke, she seems to be very confident outwardly, because it's such an inclusive society and there's like room for celebrating diversity. I think today's culture of comparison really takes a toll on her mental health and her confidence. So although we are very good at riding on trends. What is a trendy, whether it's fashion or lifestyles or beliefs or attitudes, we're very good at, being in tune with the trends. But she could really benefit from doing the work that it takes to nurture your individuality, to nurture your authenticity, so that whatever people out there say, you're confident enough to stand by your decisions and your life choices.
We're talking about the modern day Filipina.
Yes.
If we're going to compare Filipinas from the mid 90s to Filipinas today, would you say that women are less unshackled, or is it a different kind of shackles altogether?
I think outwardly less unshackled. Like we often discuss like clothing, right? Like women are whatever their body size or shape, they're very
Yes.
confident. Now we are proud about our physical individuality, right? Because of the diversity culture. But I still get so many DMs and questions from very young women telling me that they're being pressured by society to have a life timeline. They have to be married at a certain age, have children at a certain age, do this and that, and they're always, feeling really pressured and miserable about comparing themselves to. It's as if it's a race,
I
because
find
of
that
the
very
comparison
interesting.
culture, and I feel betrayed by my contemporaries who are their mothers, right? Like, did Cosmo not teach you anything? Why are you inflicting the same kind of pressures that you experience onto your children? Like, what happened?
Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't read it. That's the part that I was gonna say, because the reason I was looking at you like this is, wasn't this an age-old problem? I mean,
Right.
I say this as a Cosmo reader, and I guess you can now say that I was probably the ones who truly read Cosmo. Diba? Parang how is this even possible?
I am
Like,
bewildered that they are doing the same thing that their mothers did.
I don't want to say we because I was not part of the publication, but for the lack of a better term, we have had this discussion in the 90s, in the
Yes.
2000s, in the 2010s. It's still a discussion.
There's kind of a regression, like, yes. So, I get like DMs from young women saying, because from my example, they say, I listened to your podcast and I'm shocked to hear that you got married at 42 and you chose not to have children. Pwede palang ganon. I'm like, hello, it's 2020. Well, when was this? Maybe it's 2021. How can you think na hindi pwede? Because maybe, although there's a wealth of information out there and all the information is available out there, we live in bubbles. We live in the bubble of what? Our relatives or our spheres, or, we are fed information, or we choose to consume information that only maybe serves a certain purpose, and we maybe have stopped looking out there to see, like in the book sale days, that yes, pwedeng ganon. You can live your life this way. In other countries, this is how people live. Pwede talaga. There's so many possibilities, and how come everyone is not aware? So it really bolsters my resolve to help others be more confident in their choices. Whatever they choose to do in their life, you can do this.
All right. So we will learn more about Myrza Sison when Spotlight returns.
Nasa kamay mo ang swerte, ngunit hindi ito isang laro na para lang sa'yo. Dahil bukod sa pag-asang maging milyonaryo, ang pagtangkilik mo sa loto at iba pang produkto ng PCSO ay nakakalikom ng pondo para sa mga programang pangkalusugan, tulong at serbisyong medikal at kawang-gawa.
Lahat ng minimiting makakamtan sa PCSO.
Every time I'm on the road, I can expect high performance from Phoenix Fuels. Now with Pulse technology, delivers enhanced power and acceleration to make every trip come alive.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ano bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga partners, may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayan.
With Globe, our steps can lead us to millions of doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with a network that gets better every day for you.
Fiber is the free and secure way to connect with friends and family, anywhere. Send messages and make phone and video calls for free. Download Viber now.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Still with me is Myrza Sison. So, when you retired from the publication in 2019 after 25 years in Summit Media, you're now an executive coach.
Yes.
Tell us more about it.
That wasn't automatic.
It wasn't
At the end
automatic.
of 2019, I had plans to get into hosting and more speaking engagements. So that was where I was gearing my life towards. And the pandemic happened. There are no events.
It was a ghost town.
We were all at a loss as to like, what about our plans, right? Throw away those planners, right? And then people left and right were making their own podcasts. So I thought, well, I always wanted to be a talk show host, and people are doing it on their own. So I learned the tech. I jumped out of my comfort zone once again and put up my own 2 live stream shows, which were TikTok and Ask Me Smears.
Okay.
And so that went on for a while. I was doing it 3 times a week. Can you believe it?
At the onset,
Yes, at the onset, until it became once a week.
I mean, if I did that 3 times a week, I'd run out of things to
I
say.
kind of died because I was, like we discussed, I was the talent booker, script writer, host, makeup artist, tech person, ano pa, social media promoter.
Everything.
Lahat na, right. So that was what I did to occupy my time.
Okay.
Plus a bit of influencing. And then in 2022, a good friend of mine and the cousin of my husband, she established a Center for Executive Coaching for Asia Pacific. This is like related to the original American institution. And she said, you would be such a great coach. You would be such a great executive coach. And I said, no, thank you. I don't think that's really what I want to do. You should think of it this way. You have mentored hundreds of young writers, journalists, fashion editors, photographers, models. It will come so naturally to you, and you can make a lucrative income out of it. So she had me at lucrative income.
I think everybody has us a lucrative income at some point or another.
So I enrolled, took the courses, got certified, and I'm now working towards my international certification. And I love it.
How long did that take you?
It took like maybe most of 2022. I'm still accumulating the hours required before I take the exam.
So it's kind of like an internship of sorts.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who do you aim to reach for coaching?
Anyone who needs help in achieving their biggest goals and dreams. Executive coaching focuses more on leaders and people with professional aspirations.
Okay.
While
Excuse me, Ron.
a life coach probably works on the personal side of people's lives. An executive coach works towards achieving the goals of a person in the career and professional sense.
Right. And you chose this as the next stage of your career.
One of the, as
One
you know,
of the.
I am the reinvention, what's the word? Reinvention is my forte, and I'm always reinventing myself. So it's one of my many incarnations.
I think reinvention is the key, not only to survival, because
Yes.
you cannot thrive if you stay where you are. You know, Katharine Hepburn once said, you cannot be soggy.
Yes.
You get soggy when you
I
don't
agree.
do things or you don't challenge yourself.
Yeah.
She said that in her book,
Yeah.
which I got from book sale.
So maybe to add to joy lang ng joy and go lang ng go, try lang ng try, twirl lang ng twirl.
Twirl lang
Because
ng twirl.
pivoting is key, even if we hate that word. So I guess executive coaching is just one of my many pivots, in addition to podcasting, speaking, training, writing, ano pa? Maraming,
Ang dami.
maraming revenue streams.
Totoo, dapat marami. So, that being said, tell us what it's like, a day in the life of Myrza Sison.
There's no day in the life because it's not very uniform.
It's
There's
not
no
structured,
typical,
it's
there's no
not
typical.
regimented.
Yes, but I try and work out as much as I can. So usually mornings are for working out, for introspection, for planning, for research. And then I do my podcast recordings in the afternoon. And it's not, you can't really space it out because once you get a guest, you try and take advantage of their time. So I
Yes.
try and bank on podcast recordings. I have executive coaching clients who also have busy schedules, so I try and plot that out. I still go to events. I still
That's how we met.
that's
after
how we
all.
met, yes. I get booked for speaking engagements and workshops.
All right.
And I'm also, here's another pivot. I'm also part of a teleserye of Kim Chu playing myself,
What? Really?
which will be aired hopefully next month. In fact, I'm going to the dubbing tomorrow, which we filmed in December and January. It's another pivot. I said, why not? It's a different experience.
Myrza Sison is cast as Myrza Sison. Wow.
There are many of us. We're the board members of the company where the protagonist Kim Chu works.
And you're there as Myrza Sison.
Yes.
I gotta see this. I gotta see this.
Yes.
I'm gonna.
It's a collaboration between ABS and Amazon Prime. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun. But
All right. I gotta see this. Okay, so
back to twirling.
well, back to twirling. Now we're going to be talking about fashion.
Yes.
You know, fashion is becoming more and more inclusive and, you know, empowering across all ages and body types. Some supermodels are also having a career resurgence.
Yes.
Like
Amber
Linda
Valletta,
Evangelista,
Shalom Harlow.
Shalom Harlow, yes. Who else? Cindy Crawford, somehow, yes. But Linda is now
Carla
the face
Bruni.
of
Fendi.
Fendi.
Yes.
Carla Bruni, where is she now? I mean, where is she?
She married Sarkozy.
Yes, she
and then
married Sarkozy.
Has concentrated on her singing career.
I have the
think she did the
albums.
runway show, one of the runway shows.
I have her 2002 album, Kelkun Madi. It's actually one of my favorite songs. She also came up with, she had this album called Little French Songs.
Yes.
And her rendition of Kelkun Madi there is much better than the original.
Right.
But where is she modeling? Oh, Bulgaria? I think she...
Maybe.
I think she recently did Bulgaria.
Paulina Poriskova is always advocating for aging like
Gracefully, yes.
Well, not just, I don't know if aging gracefully is a loaded term because of societal expectations of like age not showing.
Oh, well,
equated
yeah,
with being
yeah.
aging gracefully. But she's pushing for not just accepting but celebrating all the signs of aging in women and not being ageist about treating older women as invisible or irrelevant.
Well, that's true. But I mean,
Like she's always showing barefaced pictures of herself
yes.
and crying on her Instagram
Yep.
or being naked on her Instagram.
Naked on her Instagram. I haven't seen that. But the crying part, particularly about the passing of her estranged husband,
Yes.
Rick
Who
Ocasek,
cut her out of
her
his
will. Of his will, yes. But that was resolved. But the terms were sealed and confidential. But that was resolved. I believe, was it a California court or New York court? But one way or another, she triumphed, but she cannot discuss what it was. So there is a very limited market for women of a certain age in the modeling industry, and the only ones I know who really dominated in the what's a better term for this? There's no better term for this, but the older women spectrum, there are only 3 people I know of. Of course, number 1 being Carmen de Lorefice.
Yes.
She is,
Yes, ever since.
but she's more of a novelty. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I mean, she does count. There's Carmen de Lorefice, Joan Slater, the accidental, what was that? Accidental icon. She looks like Joan Didion, by the way.
Okay.
The other one is Mae Musk, but
Yes, May Musk. So, Paulina and all our batchmates, di ba? We're really
Actually, totoo.
we're really pushing for, being visible, right?
and that's good.
Like every time I'm asked, how should one age appropriately how should one dress appropriately according to their age? And I always say, there are no rules. I'm 55. I'm wearing a mini skirt. I wear plunging necklines. You know, I shall dress however I want to dress. And,
Okay.
I'm reminded of this chant, this popular chant during gay rallies before, where they yelled, "We're loud, we're proud, get used to us."
Oh, yeah, I've
we're
heard of
loud,
that.
we're proud, we're aging, we're beautiful. Get used to us. So that's our battle cry.
Now that you've mentioned there's the career resurgence, and yes, that is an awesome battle cry.
Yeah.
Now here's my next question: will Myrza Sison be strutting down the runway again?
Of course. Can't wait to do that. I'm
Wow.
tempted to say, give me a few months so I can be in my fighting form. But
Have you?
the right thing to say is, we are beautiful the way we are, and we don't need to
You don't need to be in your
get
fighting
into fighting
form.
form because however we are is our fighting form.
But you've always been in your fighting form. I mean, come on now.
You know, there are struggles, there are mental struggles that come with pinning your identity on your looks, and modeling is very
That is
much a
true.
part of that. And so if you gained your identity in your youth from that, there is internal pressure to maintain it for as long as you live.
that is
even if
true.
it's not realistic anymore sometimes. So it's an internal struggle.
And we'll be talking about that more when Spotlight returns.
Nasa kamay mo ang swerte, ngunit hindi ito isang laro na para lang sa'yo. Dahil bukod sa pag-asang maging milyonaryo, ang pagtangkilik mo sa loto at ipapang produkto ng PCSO ay nakakalikom ng pondo para sa mga programang pangkalusugan, tulong at serbisyong medikal at kawang-gawa.
Kasal, lahat ng minimiting makakamtan sa PCSO.
Every time I'm on the road, I can expect high performance from Phoenix Fuels. Now with Pulse technology, delivers enhanced power and acceleration to make every trip come alive.
Iba ng panahon, dami ng bago ngayon. Pati ang mundo natin, well, nagbago na rin. Buti ano bayan, bigger, better na. You can buy it sa centers, pati sa mga parties, may online pa at app. You can buy it with your fingers, still don't remittance and more. Online shopping, you can buy it all. Di magpadala, you can buy it all. Anumang pera transaction, you can buy it all.
Sabayan ang pagbabago ng mundo for all your pera transactions, all new Bayad.
With Globe, our steps can lead us to millions of doors opening, millions of paths unfolding, and millions of reasons to keep going. Now's the time to be with a network that gets better every day for you.
Hello guys, welcome back to Spotlight. Still with me is Myrza Sison. So we were talking about a lot of things during the commercial break, and one of the things that just shocked her was I was at the opening of Fashion Cafe.
And he was 8 years old, and
I was 8 years
not.
old. I was 8 years old, and I got Linda Evangelista to sign a copy of the Harper's Bazaar. Someone asked me to do it. All right, so
Oh my gosh. Anyway,
what's next for Myrza Sison?
what's next? So I mentioned that I'm writing 2 books. I have been talking about this for 3 years, but yes, I'm writing 2 books. One is a collection of short fiction. I'm halfway done.
Okay.
It's too thin to be a proper book.
Okay.
And a life manual called Join Lang ng Join. Also,
I am gonna be at those book launches, right? I'm already
Let's
inviting
manifest
myself.
it.
I'm already inviting
let's
myself.
visualize it and manifest it so that it can actually happen. So there's also, I'm working towards my international certification for coaching. So
Okay.
more coaching, more speaking engagements. Hopefully, I would really love to host a talk show. And I would really love to do a TED Talk. There, I am shamelessly throwing it out there into the universe.
Well, those looking for a talk show host, oh my God, you
Or
might
a TED
replace
Talker.
me. You might. I'm just kidding. A TED Talk would be
I
amazing.
would so love to do a TED Talk.
How many people have done TED Talks here? I mean, Filipinos have done
Lots.
TED Talks, but you
Lots and
haven't.
lots, no.
I would say that's borderline criminal. That you haven't.
Keep up with the flattery.
All right. Now, what are your favorite books?
Oh gosh, there are too many to mention.
Ah, yeah, that's true. But
But
on top of your head.
I was guided by, this is the book that I keep touting in many interviews. This is the book that helped me change the course of my life.
Okay.
So I was painfully shy as an adolescent, and from the piles in book sale, I came across this book called Shyness by Dr. Philip Zimbardo. And it was instrumental in changing my life because I learned how to get around my own shyness. I learned about the psychological workings of, shyness, how to overcome it, what you need to do to get past it. And there's so many shy people out there, so many introverted and shy Filipinos that I always prescribe this book. It was such a life changer, such that by the time I finished reading it, I was about to enter college. And from being a very invisible high schooler, I learned in UP that you could reinvent yourself. It was my first reinvention. I learned that, hey, nobody knows me here. I could be who the hell I want. And I reinvented myself to be a non-shy, go-getting, volunteering group leader. So I just changed who I was because of this book.
I should have seen that book before. In my case, it was
They're still
not that.
printing it because
They still
people
are.
have been asking, where can I buy it? And Dr. Philip Zimbardo has become an expert in other psychological fields and topics.
I'm gonna try to find that book. I didn't have that
Are you
kind.
telling me that you're shy?
Don't look shy to you guys. Don't look shy to you.
No, you don't. But it is deceiving. People are shocked that I'm a shy introvert as well.
Well, when I was younger, what changed my life wasn't the book. It was a portion of a speech. It was from Audrey Hepburn.
Okay.
We know a lot. What we know about Audrey Hepburn is she's very stylish, very graceful, very soft-spoken, but not a lot of people know about her sense of humor. And that shows during her speeches. And when I was younger, I can't remember which awards night this was, but she said, when I was a child, my mother, along the lines of, told me to never make a spectacle of myself. Wait. As a child, my mother always taught me to never draw attention to myself and to never, ever make a spectacle of myself. And then I went on and made a really nice living doing just that.
Aww.
So when she said that, I said,
I love that.
oh,
Pwede pala.
pwede pala. Kasi, growing up in the 90s, being raised by parents who were born in the 50s, being soft-spoken and being shy was expected. It was, in fact, it was encouraged.
Yes, children are seen, not heard.
Children are seen, not heard. Do not talk back, do not reason. Your time will come, blah, blah, blah. But it never applied to me. I was really outspoken as a child. I was asked to feign shyness.
Oh, it's the reverse.
It's the reverse. I remember my grandmother being shocked. One of my grandmothers being shocked because I have two grandmothers. One is the more proper and reserved, and the other one is brass. And I would even say brazen.
Okay.
You would love her. She's still alive. You would love her. One time, my grandmother was talking to me about being more modest. And my other grandmother, what do you call them? Balae?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the other, the maternal grandmother is asking, what we were talking about being more modest, you know, the typical Pinoy attitude. And I was a child, and she was telling me that I should be more modest and all that. And then my paternal grandmother said, you know, he'd set aside modesty if he had any. In our family, we don't say modesty aside because we'd set aside modesty if we had any. But yeah, that our grandmother taught us early on, it was quite conflicting because one will tell you that in order to survive, you keep your head down, you be more palatable to others. Being more palatable to others or being someone acceptable or someone they're used to is the key to longevity, survival, and all that. While my other grandmother is saying, you will never make a difference in the world if you know friends from all walks of life, from all spheres, from all walks of life, basically. But, all right, now I'm gonna ask you, do you have questions for me?
Questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you have such a photographic memory? And why do you know every detail about me? Kind of spooky, but...
Why do I have such a photographic memory? I had that as a child. You should have seen me before 2022, before I had COVID, because it was far more vivid. Now I second guess myself.
Right.
I can't exactly explain why I have a photographic memory, but yeah, it's a bit shocking to a lot of
It's
people.
quite amazing.
It is a bit shocking. I mean, come on, Fashion Cafe, really? And you remember there's like an elevator in the back that shows you like the outside of Glorieta, and then when you go down.
Now? Gold's Gym?
No,
Or
Gold's
no?
Gym is on the other side.
Oh.
It would be the Coffee Bean, Jade Garden
Oh,
area.
okay,
That's it.
okay.
And Venezia used to be there.
Right.
I used to party in Venezia.
Cosmo was launched in Venezia in 1997.
Was Venezia already there then? Oh yeah.
That's where we launched it.
Yeah, of course that's where you launched it. Okay. I first went there in 2000.
And you were what, 12?
Yes. And I was dancing with Jackie Forster. I'm not sure if she will remember me. But I was, the people I remember seeing there were sila Jackie Forster. It was their period. See, Joan Quintas.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your message to all Filipinos who are very shy and introverted and would like to be more confident? Being the confident, unmodest person that you are.
When people tell you, you know, don't second guess yourself because the first person, you are supposed to be your biggest fan. You are supposed to be your biggest champion. When no one is cheering you on, you cheer yourself on. Because the one person who will be responsible for your success is you. And you won't be able to get what you want or be successful if you will not have the confidence to go after what you want. It has to start within. It has to start with yourself. If you can't believe yourself, then who will? Who will? Seriously.
Right. Agree.
Think of it as selling. Think of it as sales. To be perfectly honest, I'm not a salesperson. That's the reason I became a journalist and not a salesperson or anything related to sales. because sales would terrify me.
I'll bet
However,
you'd be very good at sales.
I've been told. I've been told. But no, but the one thing people don't realize is sales, it's not limited to products, it's not limited to services.
Yes, we need to sell ourselves.
Every day, we sell ourselves. What we wear, from what we wear to how we talk to people, the firm handshake, the eye contact. We sell ourselves every day to people we meet when we want them to like us, or when we're going to do interviews. Well, you know what I mean. Of course, you know what I mean.
I have another question. What's a quick confidence trick that people can just pull out when they're experiencing stage fright or they're getting a case of the nerves?
Just close your eyes and pretend they're not there. Close your eyes for a second, pretend they're not there. And if there is a camera or there is an audience, just don't. Just pretend they're not there. I mean, I'm looking at the camera right now because I'm addressing the audience, but as much as possible, pretend they're not there, because that will make you self-conscious. If there's an audience and you get stage fright, you know what they say, imagine them naked?
Yes.
But what if you don't like what you see? What if you don't like what you see?
It's so you to say that.
So, instead of imagining them naked like most people say, pretend they're not there. Because if you don't like what you see, it might elicit a reaction that might be undesirable to the audience. So just pretend they're not there and you're performing for yourself. You're performing for yourself. That's the most important part.
Right. Okay, last question. Ano ba
Okay.
parang naging show ka na? You can do this.
No, I'm actually
What's your
doing
confidence
this.
mantra?
My confidence mantra. I love this. This is so unscripted
diba?
and so unprepared. My confidence mantra. Let's see. Well, I can do this is one. Number two, what's the worst that could happen?
Yes.
Number three, if this fails, comically or otherwise, I have a story to tell. Oh, and one more. This came from the late Nora Ephron. And I love this.
Book sale din ba yun?
Yes. Yes. I feel bad about my neck. I got that from book sale.
Right, right.
From Nora Ephron, when something bad happens to you, tell people. Because when you slip on a banana peel, people laugh. But when you tell people you slipped on a banana peel, it becomes your laugh. You become the hero rather than the victim of the joke. So when something bad happens, acknowledge it. Don't make a big deal out of it. Laugh with yourself and at yourself. Don't take it seriously. Don't. If it's embarrassing, it's embarrassing. But it becomes easier to accept when you just laugh, because sometimes these things happen and it is hilarious. I did tell you earlier, I went to an event. I was a day early. And I laughed at myself. Anyway, yeah,
So
I hope that
there.
helps.
You have 4 mantras. You gave me not one, but 4 mantras. And I will use those in my next confidence talk.
Wow, wow.
Thank you very much. This has been my show. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you know the reason I actually made her ask questions is I am selling her. She wants to be a talk show host, and there you go. She actually showed us.
Sorry
she
for
can.
taking over.
Oh no, it's pleasure's mine. I love that.
Thank you.
I
I had
love
so
that.
much fun today.
I'm glad. There you have it, mga katribu. Myrza Sison. Thank you so much for coming, and I
Thank
hope
you.
you enjoyed this as much as I did.
I really did. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Catch fresh episodes of Spotlight every Wednesdays at 2 p.m. on the Daily Tribune's Facebook page or Tribune Now on YouTube. Once again, this has been Matthew Pirante-Pérez. See you next episode.